everyone, welcome back to the English Edge podcast. This is a space where English feels real, relaxed, and usable in everyday life, not like something you have to memorize or perform.
Yeah, welcome in. Whether you're listening while commuting, resting, or just letting something play in the background, you're exactly where you need to be. This is one of those conversations you can ease into.
I'm Sophie, by the way, and I spend a lot of time noticing how people actually speak English when no one is correcting them. That's usually where the real learning happens.
And I'm Jay. I work mostly with learners who already understand English well, but still feel that hesitation when they speak. That moment where confidence drops for no clear reason.
Quick thing before we settle in. If conversations like this help your English feel lighter and more natural, just stay connected with the podcast. No pressure, just stay around.
All right, so random question to start us off. Have you noticed how some days English feels easy and other days the same sentences suddenly feel hard?
Yes, and it's never because of big words. It's usually something small that makes you slow down, even when your idea is clear.
Exactly. And most of the time, that slowdown happens around the same three words: has, have, had.
Which is funny because those are some of the first words people learn, but when you're speaking in real time, they suddenly feel risky.
And the listener usually understands you, but you feel unsure, like you're choosing between options while already speaking.
That's because this isn't really about grammar rules, it's about timing, where the action sits in time, and whether it still matters.
When someone says, I have finished my work, they're not thinking about tense names. They're saying, this is done and it matters now.
But when you hear, I finished my work, it feels complete and closed. Same action, different feeling.
And this is where learners get uncomfortable. They hear natives use have a lot, so they start using it everywhere, hoping it sounds fluent.
That's how sentences like, I have met him yesterday happen. It's understandable, but something feels off.
Because yesterday already closed the time. Have wants the story to stay connected to now. English doesn't like mixed signals.
Now let's talk about has, because people treat it like it's more complicated. It's really not. It's just have following the subject. Same meaning.
She has lost her keys sounds natural because the problem still exists. We're still inside the situation.
But then you hear she has went home, and native speakers don't usually correct it. They just quietly notice something doesn't sound right.
Because have needs the past participle. Gone, done, seen. Once your ear gets used to it, this becomes instinct, not memory.
Now, had is interesting because people either avoid it completely or use it too much to sound advanced.
Had isn't advanced, it's just about order. One past moment happened before another past moment. That's all it's doing.
When you say, I had already eaten when he arrived, you're helping the listener follow the timeline clearly.
But if there's no second past moment, had feels heavy. Native speakers don't use it unless it adds clarity.
Here's something people usually don't realize. Fluency isn't about using advanced forms. It's about choosing the form that feels invisible.
When grammar disappears, confidence shows up. And that's when English starts feeling natural instead of stressful.
Let's pause there for a moment, because once this starts to click, the way you hear English changes everywhere else too. Because once you notice this in one sentence, you start noticing it everywhere. In movies, in interviews, even in casual arguments people have online.
Yeah, and that's when English stops feeling like a subject and starts feeling like a system you can sense. You're not translating anymore, you're predicting.
I remember working with someone who said, I understand everything, but I still feel slow. And when we listened closely, it was always around has, have, and had.
That slowness usually comes from trying to decide too much. People are choosing between forms instead of choosing the moment they're talking about.
Exactly. Like when someone says, I have lived here for 5 years, they're not just giving information. They're saying, this is still my life now.
But I lived there for 5 years feels finished, like that chapter is closed and you've moved on. Same words, totally different feeling.
And this difference matters more in conversation than people realize. It changes how involved the listener feels.
Here's a mistake I hear a lot. People say, I have known him last year. And again, it's understandable, but it sounds confused in time.
Because last year already finished the timeline. Have known wants that relationship to still be active now.
Once you start noticing this, you stop memorizing sentences and start adjusting them naturally. That's when fluency speeds up.
Now let's come back to had, because this is where people often overthink. They think using had makes them sound more advanced.
But natives don't use had to sound smart, they use it when the order of events actually matters to the listener.
Like saying, I had already left when he called. Without had, the listener might imagine the wrong order.
And if the order doesn't matter, natives usually skip had. Simpler is often more natural.
This is where confidence quietly grows. You stop trying to impress. You start trying to be clear.
And clarity always sounds fluent, even when the grammar is simple.
Here's something interesting. When learners stop forcing perfect grammar, their speaking actually improves faster.
Because they're listening more to the situation, to the timing, to how the sentence feels when it leaves their mouth.
That feeling is what natives rely on, not charts, not rules, just experience and repetition.
And once you trust that feeling, has, have, and had stop being scary. They just become tools.
Tools you pick up without thinking, like choosing the right tone when you speak or the right pause before a sentence.
That's also why listening matters so much. Not passive listening, but noticing how people actually connect ideas in real time.
If you take anything from today, take this. Don't ask which tense is correct. Ask, is this connected to now or already finished?
That one question solves most of the confusion people have with has and have.
And for had, just ask yourself, am I talking about two past moments? If yes, it probably belongs there.
Once you frame it like that, the pressure drops, and speaking feels lighter.
All right, let's slow it down here. Let everything settle. You don't need to remember every sentence. Just notice how English feels the next time you hear it.
Yeah, and if you catch yourself hesitating less after this, that's the real progress.
Thanks for staying with us through the conversation. We'll keep talking, naturally, the next time you press play.